Welcome Vice President Pence, Secretary DeVos, our Board of Education members, and esteemed panelists, as well as all our guests to our Waukesha-Saratoga STEM Academy. I appreciate the opportunity to have everyone here today in one of our district's charter schools, and I look forward to sharing more on our public school choice in Waukesha. Secretary DeVos, I have to tell you that I've been trying to get you to visit our schools over the last few years, and you finally made it with 1 week to go in my career. So thank you for coming. One of the things we do in Waukesha is use our public school choice to the fullest. Literally every one of our schools are open to any student if there's a seat available. Any student can go anywhere provided there's an open seat. We have 4 charter schools, including this one of the STEM charter schools you're in here today. We have an engineering preparatory academy, academy of health professionals, as well as an alternative school for students who tend to struggle in regular high schools. We have a kindergarten through 12th grade full immersion dual language program at multiple schools that is also open to students outside the district. We have eAchieve Academy, which is a full virtual school serving K through 12 students. We educate right now about 1,000 students under that from around the state, and my expectation is that could easily double going into next year. We also have public and private partnerships with Montessori School of Waukesha. We also have public-private partnerships with Waukesha area preschools for our 4-year-old kindergarten. These choice programs that we've done has helped us both financially as well as academically, and we appreciate the opportunity to share that with you today. With that, I turn it over to Vice President Pence.
Well, thank you very much, Todd. Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you for your great leadership as the superintendent of the school district of Waukesha. And I know we are just a few days away from your retirement after 36 years in education. So I wanted to invite everybody to join me in thanking you, not just for hosting us today, but for a lifetime in education and the difference that you've made here in Wisconsin. Thank you so much. Really is an honor to be with you. Thank you for those thoughtful comments about the value of school choice, public and private school choice here across Wisconsin. I'm looking forward to a conversation that has been going on in this state now for some 30 years. Wisconsin has been in the forefront of empowering parents with the right to choose whatever school they want their children to attend, whether that's a public school, a public charter school, a private or a religious school. And I just want to congratulate all of the members of the panel here today who've been so involved in that effort. And we had a memorable day at your State House earlier this year. Seems like a very long time ago to me, but I saw the enthusiasm. I met with families and children that have benefited by the opportunity to make that choice as a family. And I see some bright young people and some families who are with us today, and I just want to extend my congratulations to each and every one of you. I also want to extend greetings from a great champion of giving parents the right to choose where their children go to school, the 45th President of the United States of America. I told him I was on my way to Wisconsin today, and I think he sounded just a little bit jealous. He loves this state, he loves this issue, and I know he'd want me to extend his greetings. But I will also tell you that when the President and I went looking for someone to lead the Department of Education who would understand the value of empowering parents in this country, we need look no further than Betsy DeVos, who's done an incredible job as the Secretary of Education. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Betsy, for all you've done for America's children and families. I'm also pleased to be with another member of the administration's team. I am sure you have already recognized her from her many appearances on television. She is an assistant to the president, a senior advisor, but I've known her for more than 30 years, and she's also been a great champion of empowering parents with the right to choose where their children go to school. Kellyanne Conway, thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a champion for families as well. And to members of the Board of Education of the School District of Waukesha, thank you for the hospitality. I know Tammy Olivas is going to lead a conversation in just a few minutes, but thank you for the work you've done at Hispanics for School Choice and Director of Outreach. I also want to thank Jim Bender, the President of School Choice Wisconsin, James Siebert, who is the incoming superintendent with the unenviable task of following you in that role. And also I just met the principal of the Waukesha STEM Academy where we're gathering, plate with a great reputation. James Murray, thank you. Thank you for the hospitality today, for opening up this great facility. You know, it was 30 years ago with Governor Tommy Thompson that Wisconsin made history and established the very first school choice program in America. My friend Governor Scott Walker built on that progress. He expanded the program statewide. And today, in that program alone, I'm informed that more than 43,000 students are able to attend the school of their choice. And in that spirit, I also want to extend gratitude to the Senate Majority Leader, Scott Fitzgerald, who is with us here today. Thank you very much, Leader. Thanks for your support for Wisconsin families' right to choose for their children to go to school. Good to see you again. You know, I can honestly say for my part, I was for school choice before it was cool. It would be in the early 90s, looking on at what Wisconsin was doing and the groundbreaking work in this great state that I gave voice to that aspiration in Indiana. And I'm proud to say when I became governor of Indiana, we were able to I believe more than double the enrollment in our school choice program in the Hoosier State. And I can honestly tell you that in one of the very first conversations President Trump and I had, when he was considering me for this role, now 4 years ago, was on this topic. And the President was a great admirer of Wisconsin's leadership in this space, what Indiana had done. And I know it was one of the very first issues that we had very strong agreement on early on and have worked on ever since. I'm proud to report since the first days of our administration, we've worked to expand opportunities for families. The President, in the first few months in office, authorized the Washington, D.C. Opportunity Scholarship Program. It is the only federally funded voucher program in the country. We've more than increased enrollment there by 50%. We also changed the tax laws in this country so that now parents can use their college savings accounts to send their kids to a quality school at every level of education. But as we speak, and the Secretary may elaborate on this in a few moments, we're working on a new program that would make more than $5 billion available across the country in the form of education freedom scholarships. We want to make it possible to empower parents to be able to make that choice where their children go to school. For my part, I am the product of private education and public education, and I cherish both, just like every American does. I went to a Catholic grade school for 8 years, St. Columba Catholic School, but then I went to a public high school. I went to a private college, and then I went to a public university for graduate school. And one of the things that Superintendent Gray and I were speaking about is a conviction the President and I have is that empowering parents to choose where their children go to school doesn't simply make better education available for those families. We believe the competition makes everybody better. It's one of the things that Superintendent Gray and I reflected on just before I came out. In fact, you've seen evidence of that here in Wisconsin, where not only have we seen students in the parental choice program scoring higher on ACT tests, children from particularly underserved communities having a higher graduation rate across the state, but also you've seen higher performance in public schools. It's the Bible says iron sharpens iron, and so one person sharpens another. And I truly do believe, as the President does, and as Wisconsin has demonstrated every day, that by empowering parents where to choose where their children go to school, we're we're inviting excellence all across education, and you're certainly seeing that. There's a couple of great students here that I wanted to give a shout out to, and then I'm going to turn it over to Tammy, just because we've got some incredible kids in the audience. There's a Waukesha Academy of Health student. She's a junior, I'm told, who teamed up with United Way in the midst of the challenging time through which we just passed. And she made 700 masks in just 4 days and prepared bagged lunches for local families in need. Her dad's actually a retired FBI agent, and they just demonstrated just a great commitment to the community, and I was inspired to hear Jessica Felsky and her dad, Jack Felsky. Where are you both? Are you out here somewhere? Would you mind standing up and taking a bow? Thank you. Jessica, great job. Really great job. Another one of the great students who are here who've demonstrated great character in and out of the classroom is a 6th grader at Horning Middle School. I'm told he learned how to sew in summer school a few years ago, so he worked with his grandmother to sell his own creations at a local craft fair. But when he heard from his aunt, who is a nurse at a children's hospital in Iowa, that they needed more masks, he didn't wait to be asked. He started making and donating them himself, and he was already an inspiring person. He was actually diagnosed with cancer in kindergarten, but I'm so grateful to hear that he's been cancer-free for 6 years. He's out there making a difference in this state, in Iowa, and inspiring the country. Where's Colin Anderson? Colin, are you here? Stand up and take a bow, young man. Well done. Great job, Colin. Proud of you. Well, it's no surprise that support for educational choice for families is growing all across America. Since 2011, the number of Wisconsin schools and students participating in the parental choice program has doubled. Last year alone, I'm told it increased by 37%, and now 1 in 8 Wisconsin students are educated with public funds at the school of their choice. We really believe school choice is an idea whose time has come, and I particularly believe that that every parent should be able to choose where their kid goes to school, regardless of their area code or income. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that's gathered here. I look forward to the updates on Wisconsin's progress in advancing parental choice in this state. But just know that you've been opening doors of opportunity for these great young people. You've been opening pathways for prosperity, particularly to families that would not otherwise have the means to make those choices. And so on behalf of your president and on behalf of our entire team and a grateful nation, I just want to say thank you, Wisconsin. Thank you for your example. And I look very much forward to our discussion today. Thank you all. Tammy?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Secretary DeVos, I know that the people in Wisconsin want to hear a little bit about you, so can we have a few remarks from our Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos?
Thank you so much, Tammy, and Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for convening us here today, for your and the President's leadership on this really important and timely issue. School choice is an idea whose time has indeed come. And I think it should not go without saying that the last 3 to 4 months have been challenging for educators and parents and families across the country. And I just want to say how inspired I've been by all of the education leaders who have really stepped up to the plate and to the occasion and done what they've needed to do to ensure that learning has continued for their students. And a special note to the teachers who've gone that extra mile and risen to the occasion in circumstances that nobody chose, and yet we all found ourselves there. And I know in talking to parents, they're very eager for a return to some kind of normalcy, whatever that means to each student and their family. But I think it's also revealed to many families that perhaps their students learned differently than they had expected or known. And there has been a lot of learning on the part of parents and families about what education might look like going forward for that child or that family. And this has really presented us an unprecedented opportunity to continue to rethink what a K-12 education experience should look like for every child, and knowing that every child is really very unique and different. And I really appreciated Superintendent Gray talking with you beforehand about the many different ways in which the Waukesha District has continued to rise to meet those challenges and those opportunities to serve students and meeting them where they're at. And this STEM Academy is a great example of a choice school that is in high demand. More than 100 students wanting to get in that can't. And because it's a project-based, very hands-on, competency-based approach. And so just all that to say, we celebrate the ways in which Wisconsin has continued to advance opportunities. The birthplace in Milwaukee of school choice now 30 years ago. Vice President Pence, you have also acknowledged your leadership on this front in Indiana, dramatically expanding the choice programs there under your governorship, and really helping to foster the growth and creation of strong public charter school options and the innovations within the traditional public schools. I've visited more than one of those to see how each community and each school is really trying to meet the needs of the students that they're serving. So again, we have every reason to come together again now and to do what's right for students across the country, because we know that more students need school choice now than ever before. And the President's Education Freedom Scholarships plan would help to address that need in a very significant, transformative way. Very briefly, it's a historic voluntary investment into a federal tax credit fund that would be that states would select to participate in or not. And they could choose creative and innovative approaches to meet the needs of students in their state. And particularly with a focus on the most vulnerable students who today don't have those choices. The scholarships would be 100% privately funded through tax credit contributions from businesses or individuals, and it would give and empower families in states that participated the opportunity to choose an education setting that's right for them, a personalized education experience, one that fits the kind of education that child needs. We know that there's great demand for this. There is 78% support in this country for the Education Freedom Scholarship proposal. Importantly, among Latino and African American communities, 83% support. This is an idea whose time has come. We have 109 co-sponsors currently in the House and 15 in the Senate. And today we have a president, President Trump and Vice President Pence, who are champions for this issue and who know that this is the right thing to do for students. So I just am really looking forward to the conversation today and to hearing from the rest of our panelists on the great progress that Wisconsin continues to make. And specifically, and I want to specifically thank the students who've joined us here today as well, because this is really about you and your futures. We need each one of you. We need you greatly for this country. And so thank you all for being here today, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Great.
And Tammy, if I could just amplify one point, the Secretary of Education. I know we're here to talk about educational choice in the future and opportunities, and Wisconsin's a great example, but I'm married to a school teacher. My wife teaches art at a little Christian school, and so I can testify firsthand about how hard teachers have worked in public and private schools all across this country during the challenging days through which we've passed. So to every one of the teachers who are here, thank you. Thank you for keeping education moving forward. You kids who did your homework from the kitchen table instead of the classroom, great job. But why don't we hear it for all of our teachers, for all that they've done here in Wisconsin over the last several months. Great job. Tammy?
Well, echoing your words about how important our educators are, we can't deny the fact that education has changed. It's happening. We face COVID-19, a pandemic that moved us overnight to virtual education. So, Chris, I would like to hear from you. What do you think, and how do you think this will shape the school choice moving forward?
Well, I'm Chris, Mr. Vice President. Thanks for coming back to Wisconsin. It's my 4th time seeing you in 4 years, and so it's good to see you again.
You too, Chris. Thanks.
Same to Secretary DeVos. She actually visited my daughter's school a few months ago, and so I got to sit on the round table with her. It's good to see you again. For me, I have a few hats. As you can see, I'm a program director for No Better Francourt. We advocate for school choice. We actually just had a podcast where we talked to school choice parents called the Right Idea Podcast. And we talked to parents, we talked to students, and you really got to hear directly how school choice really benefits families. And it's always great to hear directly from the families because, you know, I'm involved in it too. And my other hat is I'm a parent, and I have 3 kids that go to St. Marcus Lutheran in Milwaukee, a choice school in Milwaukee. Actually, one of my daughters is here. And so I've been through the school choice process. They've been there since K4. I went to public schools in Milwaukee. My kids go to choice schools. And I tell you, that power as a parent to have the ability to decide where your kids go to school. It's like shopping anywhere. You have this market, and you go anywhere and you find the best fit. And for me, it was going to a school. I know faith is very important to you, Mr. Vice President. It's very important to my family too. We're Lutheran. And so we found a school that fits, that meets our educational needs, or also our faith. And our kids go to, they're getting the Word of God every day in school, and that's very important to us. And that's something I didn't have growing up when I went to public schools in Milwaukee. So for us, having that power as a parent gives me, I'm going through the process now with my daughter going to high school. We're choosing between 6, 7 different schools, all different, all meet different needs, and we're just trying to tailor, hey, what fits my daughter the best. And we finally decided on a school. It's a choice school, and I tell you, the power of the voucher, the freedom it gives you as a parent is very powerful. And I just, we had it here in Wisconsin for a long time. I just wish more students around the country had it. And I appreciate the work you did in Indiana to give many, that choice to parents and students in Indiana. And I just, with the education scholarships, I think that's a great idea. Give the more people, the more choice we can give, the more freedom we can give parents, the best for everybody. And it lifts all boats, public, private, charter, homeschooling, everybody, it works for everybody. And parents need more choice around this country. So thank you very much. And it's great to have an administration that really, really supports choice. And so extend that to the president, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Great job.
Thank you, Chris. I agree with you. I think it's the beauty that we have in the state, the ability to give parents the opportunity to choose. It's amazing. We particularly, being Hispanic, I know it opens opportunities that our children would have seen. So thank you for doing what you do, because I know you're a warrior on the ground. And with that, let's move to the reality. And the reality is that the Trump administration, Kellyanne, has been a huge supporter of school choice to benefit all families, but I have to say particularly benefits families of color. I can testify, I see the families, and it brings opportunities that they would never imagine. Can you let me know what is the driving force behind this commitment that the president and the administration has?
In a word, Tammy, the commitment is about the kids. So the president has spoken at length about the forgotten man and forgotten woman of America, but this is about the forgotten child. And we want to make sure that every child has the access to a quality education that is best for that particular child. Of all the one-size-fits-all policies or ideas in our country, we really should not have that when it comes to our children's education. They should be treated equally and responded to individually according to their needs and as they progress through their academic careers, their desires and their goals and their dreams as well. And so I think the concept of school choice is very simple, but it helps to solve a very complicated problem. In this way, when people hear school choice, they say, well, that sounds good. What does it mean? It means that the parent, in consultation with the student, but really the parent has the right to choose the best education for his or her child. And I will tell you that in this country, our great democracy of America, people disagree very passionately on any number of issues. Some issues we are split right down the middle in this country, and that's great for our democracy. I'm yet to hear in 30 years in this space, yet to hear a compelling argument on behalf of the child, on behalf of the student, as to why people would oppose giving a parent the opportunity to make a better choice for his or her student, his or her child. There is no good answer in that regard. The president put it best in 2015 when he was a candidate. He said, if we can dig out the Panama Canal, put a man on the moon, win 2 world wars, we sure the heck ought to be able to provide a quality education to every child in this country. And that is the mandate, that is the mission, but it still remains the goal because it is not yet completely realized, not by a long way. But the first step is making sure that those who love the child most and know the child best are empowered, are equipped to make those choices. As the Vice President said, we've worked together for a number of years. He's being very modest because in short order, after he became the governor of Indiana in January of 2013, Indiana's school choice charter program became the largest in the country. And that is remarkable. That's not coincidence, that's causation. That's not some campaign promise when you're running for office. That's a mission set that you execute on because you know the beneficiaries are the youngest among us and sometimes the most vulnerable among us. And ladies and gentlemen, if we don't do right by our children, everybody else's children, then really who are we as a nation? So that's really what this mission is. Right here in Milwaukee, Governor Tommy Thompson, a lot of folks across the aisle, right, left, and center, in a very nonpartisan and bipartisan way, helped us all understand a little bit better what an actual school choice program would look like and would do. And it was quite bold, and you should all be appreciative of the fact that that great laboratory began right here in your backyard. We're grateful. I think over time, more people understand what that has meant as these programs have continued across this country. I think school choice and educational freedom and these opportunities, these new opportunities that the Secretary and the Vice President have presented today, they have tripartisan support, really strong support across demographic and geographic and gender and race and ethnicity, and whether you have children or not children of your own, a socioeconomic status. They cross all these boundaries because people really do say it's a great idea. I think that, as the Secretary has said, the pandemic affected every school child in this country somehow. Every student in this country was affected somehow. The pandemic truly did change the way we look at distance learning, but our goal is to make sure that there's not a lot of distance in that learning, whether you're getting on a computer or in the classroom or through your parents. No child was spared, and really what school choice says is that no child should be excluded from a great choice. So, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your continued leadership on this issue. You were the tie-breaking vote on that 529 legislation on December 1st, 2017, in the wee hours of the night, tie-breaking vote, and you got it done. And that tie-breaking vote, Mr. Vice President, really does allow these families to start earlier in their children's lives to save and invest for education later on. They don't have to wait to backload it, they could actually front-load it. And I very much appreciate you making this policy, you and President Trump making this policy really a very central focus of your work. Thank you very much, and thank you all for having me here today. Thank you.
Great. Very good.
Thank you, Kellyanne, and I couldn't agree more. The school choice movement, it's about the student. And it's something that we have to constantly remind ourselves. It's about the student. So I would like to ask you, Elisa, as a mother of Waukesha STEM Academy Prep, I would like to ask you as a mother, what are your concerns as we're heading back to school in fall? Summer will be over in a blink, and I don't have little ones anymore at home, but I can barely imagine what you're going through. So what are your concerns? What do you think the future looks like from a mother perspective?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's very difficult as a parent trying to do multitasking with my son. He's just turned 14. And it's very difficult for him because he's like, Mom, I miss the socializing. And I'm like, yeah, I understand, but we still have to manage to come together. Nothing lasts forever. And you have to get out there and do your best. And there's a lot of people there who could help you. There's counselors, there's teachers. And everyone's working together to move along and try to do our best in all these situations that we're going through. What concerns me is, as a Latina, it's hard for us because we have to work double because of our language. So we really, really have to work really hard to get to where most people get there halfway, or they say, that's it, I'm done, you know, it's too hard, I can't do this. And I always tell my son, you know, you have to do your best, you know, and if you don't understand something, you go and ask. There's help out there. There's people who can help you get through this, and it's gonna be fine. You're gonna succeed. If I succeed, I know you can succeed. And sometimes we have to talk to them about that and let them know that they can do a good job no matter what the job is, no matter where they're at, they can succeed, you know, and they can put out, everybody is unique and everybody has their own way of thinking and processing. But everyone can get there, no matter who you are, what color you are, just go for it and don't look back. You know, that's what I tell my son, and he's getting there. Sometimes he does get a little confused, and it's so much going on around the world and everything that's been going on that it does get overwhelming. But you just have to be positive. You have to talk to them and let them know, you know, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you can go forward and it's gonna be fine. Nothing lasts forever. You'll be fine. And you can see his beautiful smile, I'm sorry. His beautiful smile, and I feel good about that because I know I'm doing my job as a parent, and I know you guys are doing a great job on what everyone's doing in their areas. So I'm very pleased. The programs that he actually graduated this June, and now he's gonna go to high school, so I'm excited with all the options he was gonna have, and yeah, I'm just so excited to be here and to, you know, let everyone know a little bit about the perspective of a parent.
Thank you. Thank you, Elisa. Congratulations on that child ready to go to high school.
Yeah.
Big applause to you and the students. And thank you for being so honest and sharing the struggles that parents faced. We talk about the wonderful job educators have done. I have to say we owe a big round of applause to all the parents that had become educators at home. It's definitely been challenging. And on that note, I would like to take it to you, Trinae, because you have that principal teacher perspective. So you had to deal with everything that happened at school, but you also had to take into consideration that you were dealing with human beings. with parents and students that might or might not like this new model of education. So take us to that day when you found out that that was it, you were not going back to school. What happened? What did you learn? And what would you not repeat? And you only have 2 minutes. I know we talked for a long time before this started, but if you can tell us in a nutshell what that was and where you are.
I think the first time I heard it, I was like, it's gonna be short-lived, like we're going back to school. My mind was like, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. And then as the date kept getting pushed back, and then I was like, okay, well, it's gonna be over on this date. So then I texted the vice president, I'm like, okay, we'll have a week. Can we go back for 1 week? And he's like, you're not listening. And I was like, no, we can go back for 1 week. Like, it's 1 week. I just wanted to be back with the kids because I knew this new norm was not what we were used to. And so I think as the principal, my goal and the vice principal's goal, we made sure to reach out to every kid, every family. We spent the first week literally just calling saying, hey, how are you? What do you need? Can I do something for you? What can we get you? Not even thinking about the whole education piece. We just wanted to check on the child and the family's well-being. And I mean, we got food, we donated things, we did social distancing, and it was just making sure that kids felt like, okay, this is happening, but it's still normal because I see my leaders, I see my teachers, or we made videos, we called, we did a lot of things. We started to incentivize it. And so I think having strong relationships with the families that I have made it easier to transition to the education piece, but it was more of like, this is our new norm and this is how it's gonna be, and having sincere conversations on, you may not know how to do this and it's okay, but here's 10 other teachers, there's their phone number, here's when they're gonna be online, let them take care of it for you, so it's not a parent at home having to do homework, having to do your own job. It was, let us do this for you. Like, this is what we do every day. It's our new norm, let us help you with it. And so I think making parents feel like, okay, we know you're struggling, we know you're going through a lot, this isn't what we expected either, but we're here for you, made the process easier. Not what we wanted, but it just made it easier for our kids and our families. And I think even as a parent myself with 2 high schoolers and a middle schooler, I was like, this was not the plan. Like, help me out here. And so I could see it from both sides of like, yes, I have 270 plus babies to take care of, but I also have 3 at home that I have to juggle too. And so I think looking at both ways, what do I want as a parent, and making sure I reached out to parents and gave them those same things, helped the process for us.
Wow.
Anything you would not repeat, Trinae, of all that you've gone through?
I think something that I would not, well, no, I don't think so, because, I mean, we made videos, we stayed engaged with our parents, we made sure we got Chromebooks out right away, and so I don't think there's anything I would take back. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was what we had, and we made the best of it for our kids, just so that they could feel like, okay, this is normal, but it's not normal, but it's our new normal. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for humanizing everything that we had been going through, because that's reality. Schools closed, but really what happened is that we didn't see our students there. So thank you for bringing normality to their lives to your extent. As you said, and I love that you would not change a thing. We all learn, and you're a positive person as well. We said that. We're going back to school in fall. Calvin. Calvin, I think that education reform models that we see in Wisconsin direct the money to schools or systems. With all of these changes that we're already going through, do you think there's room for discussion to probably see education savings accounts, or work on more individualized plans, or even give grant schools innovation grants so they can just work with the times, with the new times that we're facing? What do you see? What's your perspective in this? And I hope you're a positive person as well.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Mr. Vice President, for coming back to Wisconsin again. Secretary DeVos, welcome back. You already know about the history, the rich history here in Wisconsin. Nonetheless, this pandemic, I would say, has reawakened this movement of school choice, in my opinion. And I say that to reiterate what many of you have stated thus far about empowering parents, all right? We are still moving forward and wanting to create this platform where parents have voices and they can exercise those voices, those choices. And to your question, Tammy, the education savings accounts, things and other programs or other incentive programs would be tremendously helpful nationally, but more specifically here in Milwaukee. And the reason why I say that is there were a number of students, number of families that went without Wi-Fi, went without having Chromebooks to do their homework. I'm incredibly grateful because I wear a number of different hats. I too, like my good friend Chris, aside from my legislative and my community relations responsibilities, I too am a father. I have a beautiful teenage daughter who's a scholar at Wisconsin Lutheran High School, where Dr. Fisher is, and I owe a great deal, my daughter owes, our family owes a great deal of gratitude for what they're pouring into my daughter, my child, and I mean that wholeheartedly. But we will, obviously, as we move forward, this has changed tremendously. But if we can have incentives, Education Freedom Scholarship, anything else that would be able to assist the tens of thousands of families, not only here in Milwaukee, but if we're talking about nationally, look at the impact that we can make. We're talking about effectuating change, providing opportunities for these families. That would be the start, in my opinion. So, once again, I want to thank you, Mr. Vice President, Secretary DeVos, and the only other request that I would actually have of you, Mr. Vice President, is, and Secretary DeVos said that she would assist with this. My dear friend Chris Lawrence, he does have a daughter. We're trying to get him to send his daughter to Wisconsin Lutheran High School with my daughter, so that's it.
We'll work on that. That's great.
Thank
Great
you,
words, Cal.
Cal.
Great words.
Now, you've been asked for a letter of recommendation, it seems like, Mr. Vice
Sounds
President.
like it.
Calvin, thank you very much for sharing your perspective. I agree that the times, if anything, had really opened the reality to school choice. I think we all realize that all children are different, and one model doesn't suit every child. We realize that at home because some of them were jumping up and down and not sitting by the computer where they needed to be. And some others just loved it and were doing even more than what they were supposed to do. So this is definitely interesting times, and the door is wide open to consider the options for everybody. I think everybody needs to be open for that. I think if anybody knows children, it's educators, and educators know when a model is not fitting a child. And so let's be open to this discussion, and let's bring it back to who it's important, which is the children. And with that, Todd, first and foremost, congratulations on your 2-week, right? We're 2 weeks away from that retirement. Congratulations, and thank you very much for everything you've done for the children in Waukesha. I would like to ask you, school districts across Wisconsin faced widely different challenges during the pandemic. We all know that. Some districts responded quickly, very quickly, and some urban districts did not. Can you let us know how you faced these unique challenges and how you overcame them?
Sure. As I pointed out earlier, we have a virtual school, K through 12, with approximately 1,000 students in it. So we were really ready. We knew how to do this already. All of our students had iPads, teachers' iPads plus laptops. So we were ready to go literally at every level. Now, I know other school districts probably didn't have the advantage, may not have had the one-to-one computing, and so there were some great challenges there. But I believe, from my conversations with other superintendents around the state, everyone was able to step up and do what they needed to do. It was a tough situation. Even in a district where we are fully prepared for that, there were a number of challenges and hurdles we had to get through. But I think there was a definite sigh of relief when June came around and we were done. But now the challenge is, how do we get to the next school year? We'd like to be, have a normal school year in our buildings, but what are we going to have to do to make that happen is the big question.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for participating in this roundtable and open discussion and being so true to what you believe as parents and as part of the movement of school choice. And with that, Mr. Vice President, I would like to ask if you have some closing remarks for us at the roundtable and for everybody else attending today's event.
Well, my first request would be to give Tammy a round of applause. I think you've done an outstanding job. When I walked up to her, she said, "I hope I'm able to run a good discussion." I thought this was very insightful. Thank you. Thank you for the thoughtful, candid, and inspiring range of perspectives that we've heard today. Again, to Todd Gray, to hear that you had a virtual school already explains a lot about the way that Waukesha was able to respond during this challenging time, and I want to commend you for that. But also, I also want to express appreciation. When we talked before the event, you said you'd like to speak about the value of choice within the public school system and the charter system, and we had an immediate meeting of minds. We really do believe that the principle here is empowering parents to choose whatever school they believe, like some of the parents here are making decisions now, that they believe is most right for them, whether it's a public school, a private school, a religious school. And so thank you for being a champion of that principle and speaking so clearly today. I want to thank Chris Lawrence. Thank you for your leadership. Apparently, I'm not able to come to Wisconsin without seeing you, so I look forward to seeing you next time. More importantly, thanks for your leadership. I tell you, you're a great dad, and you've been a great champion for a lot of families that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunities that they would have. And Wisconsin's been leading the nation, and you've been a part of that. I want to thank the Secretary of Education. She is as tenacious an advocate of education as I have ever met in my life. And I can tell you that I know that Secretary DeVos is going to go back with renewed energy with the words that we've heard today, and we're going to work hard on the Freedom Scholarship to be able to expand across the country what you've been able to do here. And to Alyssa, thanks for giving us the perspective of a great mom. All of our kids are out of the house, and my youngest just finished graduate school, but it's been a challenging time for parents, and thank you for bringing that to this conversation so clearly, and thanks for reminding us that the moms and dads who all became educators in part in the last several months are all heroes. And so thank you again for your great words today and your great insights. It's really been inspiring. And I must tell you, I will say Principal Howard, Trinae, thanks. Thanks for the way that you, your vice principal, your whole team obviously leaned into this effort. It's in the highest and best tradition of education in the state. And I can tell your students, as well as those kids of your own, are blessed. So thank you for bringing that perspective. And I'm intentionally, I did want to say to Kellyanne Conway that the forgotten child, I think, is, I'm going to take that back. from here. This is a president who, when the people of Wisconsin said yes to this president 4 years ago, we spoke about the forgotten men and women in this country. But I know this president, I know his heart, and I know he was talking about the kids. And so thanks for that, and thanks for the good insights that you shared. It really is about that. We want to expand opportunities, not because of some political objective or ideological aim. It's about simply empowering parents so that there are no forgotten children. There's no futures lost. And that was especially well said, Kellyanne. And finally, I just want to say, Calvin Lee, I hope you're right. We've passed through such an extraordinary time as a nation, and the faith and the resilience and the character of the people of Wisconsin and the people of America has just shone forth. And every day, I mean, Wisconsin's made an extraordinary progress in combating the coronavirus. And every day we're one day closer to putting it in the past. But I'm very challenged by your suggestion that there might be in this a reinvigoration, as every parent became an educator in part and had to make choices in the way they used their own time and the way they became engaged. Because that's one of the great things about school choice I've always observed, is that it has the effect of reminding parents that that they're the most important person in their child's life, and that their decisions and their choices in the best interests of the kid are the best guiding principle. And so I'm really struck by your comment that maybe this challenging time through which we passed has reinvigorated that principle in parents around the country who have seen that they were able to see their way through this challenging time, to help their children continue to excel, continue to learn, and maybe that can translate into expanding more choices, more public charter choices, more innovation, like at this great STEM academy that we're gathered at, and more opportunities to choose even private and religious schools. So it's through great adversity sometimes comes opportunity, and maybe we'll look for that in places all across this country. But I thank you. That's a very fresh thought for me about this, and I appreciate the insight, Calvin. Lastly, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone here. We've got education leaders. We've got teachers all over here. We've got some great kids. I want to thank Jessica Feskel and Colin Anderson again for also representing all these other great kids. I hope they have a chance to say hi to before I slip away. Lastly, I want to say thank you to Wisconsin. Thank you for leading for more than 3 decades. What you've done here in Wisconsin has generated opportunities for families and children all across America. And I just want you to know we're going to take what we've heard here today, take Wisconsin's example in public and private school choice, and we're going to work every day to make it more possible for more parents across America to choose where their children go to school. So thank you all very much, and God bless you. God bless Wisconsin.